le rama imerong naguni panay le rama hi ko vinen mi imem ne le rama panay le rama.
We're surrounded by tundra. The challenge is that the soil has a lot of rocks and it is not very light, it's very dense. The problem with it though is that it's completely inert. Inert meaning that it has no pH or nutrient values. What we need is some kind of composting material or fertilizer. So as a way to take stuff out of our landfill and not keep adding to it here in town, we got a composting program started where people can bring in their compostable materials. So what we got here is a worm farm. So it's a self-contained system where there's multiple trays. So what's going to happen is we're going to use a type of compost, a worm that's mainly used just for composting, called a red wriggler. And it's they're very good in that they do half their body weight per day in eating material. Put the waste in the top. The worms, as they run out of stuff in the bottom, they're just going to keep making their way through what's called a worm ladder. They'll climb up to where they need to get the food, and then the waste is expelled, and it will come out as a sort of liquid. Some will be, eventually it'll start forming soil, but the fertilizer will come out through here, and then we'll just use this little tap or spigot. We'll get all our waste out of there, close it, and you can see the filter. We will pour it. We're starting off with a very small amount of worms. We have a lot of challenges getting worms up here. So the ones that we currently have been here for 5 years because getting worm places who do vermiculture, who breed worms for composting, generally won't ship to an area if your temperature of your area is lower than plus 35. And of course with days in the minus 50s and 60s, we're a little bit colder than plus 35 up here. So on the worm farming, we have 23 of these units. So they'll be distributed amongst the 3 main schools we have in town, the QMS, Levi Angma, and John Arlukuak. And they'll mainly go to the science departments, and then as well as staff room where staff can contribute some in some common areas. And then this is to feed the greenhouse project. So in the greenhouse project, we have two main students that are working on it, which are Joe Curley and Ansela Urquhart. Been doing an awesome job and working hard on the greenhouse. And as we get closer, we're going to hire more students. And then during the summer, when it really gets underway, This is our bottom. It's gravity fed, so everything obviously goes down. Sometimes though, they fall to the bottom and they won't be able to get back up. So we'll use this, they call it a worm ladder, so he can try to get their way back up if they happen to fall down. You can see we've got 4 trays to each system, but we only use 1 to begin until we start creating the soil. This mesh is big enough that the worms can go through. So I'm going to put this above, and the first thing we need to do is to add some newspaper. We're going to wet the newspaper a little bit. And this is the only time we're going to add the wet newspaper to the bottom. This is called core. We're going to make maybe somewhere about half. It's mostly made out of coconut. And we're also going to use a little bit of paper, the pumice, and they're saying about half a cup. That's almost dead on a half a cup. One last thing. Where are we? The mineral rock dust. So, one. Two. And we're going to add you can see it's just shy of a cup of water. I might need to add a little bit more. So somewhere about there. So you can see it's moist, but it's not soaking wet. And you can see why the paper's there now, right? That's going to stop it from falling through. So I'm going to very lightly put my worms in there, and I'm going to put those in the middle. So if I've got my worms in the middle, I don't want to put my food in the middle. I want to put my food in the corner. So right now this is a little better than normal. Normally I would wait until it's rotten, but I already know this one's okay. Eggshells, which are excellent, and a bit of old mushroom. So I'm just going to put those in the corner. And by putting them in the corner, we can also be sure that it's working, because we're going to know if the worms gravitate to their food source. And what I'm going to do is, I don't want this wet and I don't want this dry. Just a little bit moist. I just use what we got here. And that's it. Right now, get that off there. Put that on. And for now, that's it.
Panay le rama, hi ko vineng mi imeng ne le rama, panay